let's skip what we think about politics, but politicians are, this is why they use media so much. Media is power, media is influence. This is why they buy, in various countries, they buy media channels and all of that. Like, media is powerful. And we use the combination of, we create a familiarity effect around the brand, but also around the key phases of the vendor.
Oh yes, this is the Hardcore Marketing Show. I'm Casey Cheshire, your host for this epic journey. Today's show is sponsored by Ringmaster, on a mission to launch B2B podcasts that create relationships, generate revenue, and drive growth. Ringmasterlive.com. Bam. Hey, okay, let's do this. We are cranking. We're recording. We are leaving the station. The train has departed, and we are about to go supersonic. We're going to leave the rails. We're going to go so fast and furious. I can't wait to reintroduce my guest today to you. Yes, that's right. We are talking to someone we first met back in June of 2020. Can you even remember that far? You probably can, because crazy things were happening right about then, including this interview. So if you're curious about this guest's background and how he grew up, check out episode 157. Maybe there's a link in the show notes. Check out the background there. But man, we are going to dive into it today. We have some real myths to smash. But who is he? Who is he, Casey? Serial entrepreneur, mega marketing and sales leader. You'll hear that in a second. Also thought leader, entrepreneur, again, advisor, author, and speaker. Now, he has a particular strength. Think of these three different areas, the domain expertise and both the marketing and sales leadership. And I think some of us think we're one or the other. I mean, I'm more of the marketer with like a little bit of sales, but he brings both to bear. Honored as the B2B Commercial Director of the Year, author of the Megadeals book. Now, this book is crazy. Get this at your own risk. It's focused on seriously large deals. Founder of Megadeals, Christopher Engman, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Casey. My pleasure.
I should say, welcome back to the show.
I hope we'll have equally fun as the last time.
It's great to have you back on here, man. This is exciting. I know you've been moving and changing and seeing things that we haven't seen. So I'm going to pass you this thing. It's heavy, but I know you work out over there. So let me pass this to you. Okay, here you go. Go ahead and take Thor's hammer. You want to grab that? You got it?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, nice. All right, Christopher, take Thor's hammer, smash for me some kind of marketing myth, bogus strategy, misconception, set the record straight once and for all.
Right. I have a few, but I've selected one. So integrating the marketing and sales stacks is not the way to build a foundation for commercial scaling. So my take on this in brief is that marketing and sales have become over-engineered. You start off with a CRM and one or two added point solutions. Now many companies are using 15 to 30 parts in their marketing and sales tech mix, which makes it operationally impossible.
All right. Over-engineered, 15 to 30 parts. Does that mean we have 15 to 30 different pieces of software in our tech stack? Holy crap.
Yes, absolutely. You sometimes see more. It's crazy. Like, and again, it started off well, but this kind of best of breed is actually killing execution. You see, there are kind of three problems to it. One, if you look at the license fees, and this is particularly, I focus mainly actually on companies with about 20 to 200 employees and in the higher deal complexity space. It doesn't have to be, so don't be scared about the name Megadeals. So most of our clients are doing ARR deals of sometimes below 100,000 US, but sometimes a few 100,000 US. Of course, we do have those that are doing really large deals, but the majority are doing more like medium sized deals. But they are in the high complexity space with distributed decision groups. So imagine you're selling into a company where it's not just 3 to 5 decision makers, which is normal complex selling. This is 3 to 5 decision groups. So as soon as a company starts to be over 100 employees, you start to be siloed with functional areas, business units. You have country management in various countries. You start to create a pretty complex decision matrix. And as soon as you're selling into those, and obviously it goes way and way more crazy as the bigger you go, you are selling in often, depending on what you sell, but you need to address not just several stakeholders, but several stakeholder groups. And these kind of companies that we have specialized on, and we went from being a consulting business, and we've pivoted entirely into a SaaS play. So what I'm super proud of, we've in 21 months gone from zero to very close to $3 million ARR in less than 2 years.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty cool actually. And with clients in 4 continents, what we have found, which is actually connected to the myth, is that when you look at well, let's outline it first. So very, very high level. Imagine you have B2C sales, which is in itself having probably, 15, 20 versions underneath it. But let's look at just the B2B. You have transactional B2B. You have demos. I call it demo sales, which is where you have the Aaron Ross model. You have a bunch of SDRs hammering the market, booking meetings, making the first introduction calls, and then they're bringing in account executives. That's not our main. That's not our domain at all. But that's kind of the third one. The fourth one is regular complex sales, but with multiple stakeholders. The fourth one, the fifth one is complex sales with distributed stakeholder groups. And then the sixth one, which is even more tricky, is you have complex sales into ecosystems. So it's not just one client. Well, you can have one main client, but you need to get a sign off from multiple organizations, not just multiple stakeholder groups. So the fifth and the sixth business logic is where we operate. And in this space, you typically have high decision complexity. You also have a rainmaker dependency. So it's very common that they have 1 to less than 10 commercial stars that are really moving the needle. You rarely, because they're not doing their Ross model. They need to have seriously experienced people that are facing the customers. And in the last two, deal orchestration, where marketing and sales for real is integrated throughout everything from top of the funnel to growing existing clients. Whereas in the others, you can have marketing, then sales. So you can do lead generation, you hand it over to sales and they take over. So we're in stark contrast to the Aaron Ross model where so our typical clients are they're leading sales with either founders or some seriously experienced people, typically small in numbers. And their whole playbook is how to scale these key people, not try to copy them, because that doesn't work. So and what we've seen in this space is that, the cool thing here is that you can build a few companies like ours around the other business logics, because what I'm just going to tell you is a global trend. So since marketing and sales has become over-engineered, the answer isn't to integrate the backends, because even if you do, yes, you get the data flowing between them. It becomes operationally horrendous because you need a big team. First of all, there's license fees goes crazy. The teams that operates it goes crazy in numbers and the type of skills involved. And it becomes super clunky because yes, the data feeds are connected, but you still operate in different systems. So to put it in our context, so our typical clients they're too big not to do what we do, but they're too small to carry 17K plus USD in just licenses per month. They're too small to carry a bunch of people operating this kind of thing I'm going to tell you. So what we've honed in on is to build great stakeholder maps for our clients' ICPs and the accounts they want to win and grow. We've also built the software on top of quite a few different marketing vehicles so that it's all integrated. So our clients just see one software, but it's built on top of 14 other softwares. And our base is 4K US per month, which is less than a tenth of what it really costs. And the reason why we can do it is that we've negotiated with the 14 underlying systems, because their ICP is not ours. For our ICP is what these system vendors see as breadcrumbs. They actually can't defend the CAC, lifetime value, and NRR doesn't work out when they sell to companies with 200 down to 20 employees. because there are just too few seats and all of that. So they see us as an additional revenue stream, but we managed to get them to see us as one client instead of, we now work with 35 companies across 4 continents, and growing fast, but they see us as one client. Since we are encapsulating them under our on-top sauce. And the reason why we call it on-top sauce is that it is a sauce play, but it's on top of the sauces, if that makes
Got
sense.
it.
So
Yeah.
we have embedded quite a few really smart systems under the hood to make it operationally friendly and to make it possible to deliver the capacity of an IBM around stakeholder maps and media, but at a cost of less than 10% of what it normally costs, which is pretty. I think that combined with us also using our own playbook is why we grow pretty fast. So we make something really, really cool available for small companies that haven't seen what we offer before.
And you use it yourself, which is testament to that.
100%, 100%. So there are some key elements. We use ourselves as a test case. So we've gone, as I said, in 21 months from 0 to close to $3 million ARR with only me selling, but I'm served with great stakeholder maps. I'm served with a very smart, hyper-targeted media. So one of the innovations we have, we can target exact individuals across not just LinkedIn, but also Instagram, Facebook, news sites, and YouTube. And most people that our clients are selling to are not marketing and sales people. I mean, we on this call and the people listening are typically pretty heavy on LinkedIn, but our clients are not necessarily. I just left the meeting. Their company doing anti-money laundering solutions for second-tier banks. Their stakeholders are, yes, they are on LinkedIn, but they're almost never there. So you can't use LinkedIn as an influence channel. You need to use a combination of regular news sites, business sites, Instagram, Facebook, but with similar targeting as you have on LinkedIn. And that's one of our innovations. And we've embedded it into our software. So yes, I'm served with the stakeholder maps, the media targeting, with the signals of who is clicking on what, exactly which individuals are clicking on what. But I also have a scaler, which is part of the recipe. So instead of having SDRs, you can have SDR-like people, but they are not fronting the client. They're not running the first meetings because you can't burn the bridges. You can't send in a junior person to run the first meeting. The first meeting is the moment of truth. So most of our clients are putting their most senior people in the front. Then they have what you would call an SDR as a back office person offloading the seniors. So preparing meetings, taking notes, doing the meeting summaries, doing the follow-ups, drafting the proposals, making sure the process is ticking all the boxes. And then you have what we call rainmakers. They run the meetings. So one of the reasons why we can grow this fast is we follow this recipe.
So talk to me of this first meeting. I guess it works if you know that the people are pre-qualified and they're not just kicking tires. So it's
Yes.
worth than having your most expensive, your most senior person in that meeting.
Yeah.
But so many people want that.
So the thing is, our ICP, they are selling into a setup. So I give you some numbers. So if a company is saying 80% of the volumes, it's important to cut the last 20 because in the last 20 you can find hundreds of thousands of companies. But if the 80% of the world revenue per segment that you're targeting is found in less than a few thousand companies, typically even less than a few hundred, they're a perfect fit with us. On the contrary, if 80% of the volume, starting with the biggest and down, is found in 50, I spoke to a company yesterday. They're like, 80% of the volumes is found in 10,000 companies. I said, we use the Aaron Ross model. You can use us on the top 200 to 500 companies you really want to win. So the high priority cases. For the rest of that, use the Aaron Ross model with a bunch of SDRs and just hammer the market. We're not that playbook. We're sitting we either work with companies that only have the important accounts, or with those that have both, and then we sit on the top of the pyramid. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Because dealing with as soon as the target account starts to be multidimensional with countries, business units, and everything, the whole way of convincing them and getting the yes is way more complicated. There's a completely new dimension of internal politics and internal rules to tick, right?
But what's interesting though is as complicated as it can be, I heard you mention ICP.
Mm.
So it's almost like you're still using the core that everyone should be like understanding who your ideal customer is. Can you talk to me about what goes on before you even have that first meeting?
So what we do for ourselves, because I'm also a client to our own offering and what our clients is using. So they're first of all, we are deciding the what are the 50 to a few hundred companies we really want to sell to, and then what's the ISM, so the ideal stakeholder map. Uh,
Mm. Yep.
and that can be. I mean, for us, it's pretty simple. Like if we have a yes, we have a way simpler business than our clients normally. We need to get a yes from a small-ish company's CEO, head of sales, head of marketing, or a CRO also in the mix. Then
Right.
we're good. Whereas our clients typically have to convince several stakeholder groups. So we're in regular, our own business is regular complex sales, but we're still using our own playbook because it's so effective. So, but we're built for deals that are more complex than our own, but we still use our own, if that makes sense. So, so what happens before a meeting is that we decide. So me and my scaler and the team that's supporting us, which would be similar to what's supporting a client, we decide what are the accounts we're going for. So, for example, right now we have a special focus on growing a combination of Swedish companies, and we've even honed in on New York, San Francisco, LA. Does that mean we receive cases from outside? 100% inbound, definitely. And we have clients in 4 continents, as I said, but we have a special proactive focus on our ICP in mainly Stockholm, LA, San Francisco, and New York. So we're then, based on the ISM, mapping out the exact names, and that's being put into our software. And then our team is starting a multi-channel media targeting of them. So all of a sudden, these guys are seeing us in their Insta stories. They're seeing us on Facebook. They're seeing us on LinkedIn. They're seeing us on the local newspaper. They're seeing us on YouTube. So, because again, LinkedIn is even for us, even though we're selling to commercial people and commercial people are normally fairly active on LinkedIn, LinkedIn alone creates a 2-week effect. So what then happens is that in our tool, I monitor exactly which companies and which individuals are clicking on the ads. And then we're built into direct links in the software. I can immediately click on their profile and end up on their LinkedIn. And then I can make what I typically do, I call it the gym flow. So instead of booking a meeting, I know they've seen us, I don't know, 150 times across all media channels, both the logo and my face and the right messaging and all that. They have even either visited the website or clicked on an ad or a few. So then I engaged in what I call the gym flow. So if you want to have a high conversion rate and a high win rate, you need to be a bit more subtle. So I then go into their LinkedIn and I like a few of their posts. I might comment on one. I don't immediately add them as a contact. And then typically they respond to my comments saying, thank you, Christopher, or whatever. And so they take notice and they notice like, oh, isn't this the company and the guy I've seen in the news? Because the brain doesn't connect the dots. Like I've seen him before, and now he's on my LinkedIn. And this happens for our clients as well. They call it the red carpet effect. And then I wait a few days, then I go back in again. And now I might add you, Casey. So I'm like add contact. And then when you accept it, I just write, thank you, Casey, for accepting my contract request. And I don't immediately write, can we meet? So I let it pass a few days again. I might go in like 1 or 2 of your posts again, comment on one, and then gradually I move it into either an email or an in-mail where I start to engage in a chat where I typically plant the seed. I say something about your company, Casey.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably say it would be great to catch up sometime. So I intentionally don't ask for a meeting. Why? Because if I ask for a meeting, they have the chance to say no or yes. If I say it would be great to catch up sometime, I plant a seed in your brain, and it would be weird if you say, no, I don't want to meet. That's socially weird, right? So
Yeah. Like I don't want to catch up. Like what
no,
do
I
you?
don't want to catch up. Like,
You know?
I mean, not responding or responding to something, that's fine. But because I haven't asked for the meeting, and if
Right.
someone doesn't ask, you can't say no because that's socially weird. No, well, you can, but it's socially weird. So
Mhm.
I just plant the seed, and then I move into actually. So I had this happening this morning. It was a CEO of a company that really fits our profile. They need to sell to C-suite and board in medium-sized and large corporations in certain industry. Perfect for us. So I did this whole thing with the CEO, and I then planted. It would be great to catch up sometime. I really like what you do, and I understand the problem you're solving, which is, as I've understood it, X, Y, Z, whatever. And he's like, "Yeah, that's accurate." Oh, so that example is I sometimes use a metaphor of the gym flow. So imagine I want to sell to you, Casey. I know exactly who you are. I see you at the gym that I frequently go
Okay.
to. Option one is that I go straight to you and I go, "Hi, Casey. I've seen you. You're doing the Hard Corps marketing show, blah, 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 blah. I'm Christopher, by the way." I can do that. But you would professionally be polite, but you would also be a bit defensive. Under the surface, a bit defensive. Like, who is this guy? I've never seen him before. Option two is same situation.
At the gym, that's pretty awkward, right?
Yeah, it is pretty awkward. Like the same situation, but now,
Especially if we were different sexes too. That'd be even more awkward.
yeah, exactly. But let's do it according to our
Yeah,
the
let's
way
keep
we
it
do
flow.
it. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
flip it. So here, first of all, when I see you in the gym, now you've already seen me in media.
Yeah.
You don't remember where. You're like, oh, I recognize that face. You might even know, oh, it's Christopher Engman from Megadeals, but doesn't matter. You're like, I recognize that guy. I don't know from where. Like,
Yeah.
but instead of me stepping onto you, I just pass you. I kind of nod at you, like a silent hi, but it's not like nodding.
Yeah.
Maybe the third time I see you, I say hi. Maybe the fifth time I intentionally step into a gym machine next to you, and I just go pretend that it's random. Like, oh, hi, I've seen you here a few times. I'm Christopher, by the way. And then I again step back. Maybe two times later, it's more normal to engage in like, so do you live nearby? And what do you do, by the way? Do you have kids? Do you like blah, blah, blah? And then I can kind of slowly move it into the discussion I want to have. But now, the cool thing now, you've seen me, and now you've probably noticed me for real because we have said hi in the gym. So you're like, wait, that's guy I've seen him that's Christopher from Maggie. So when I take a longer discussion, I have shifted the dynamic. So now you're a bit starstruck even because you've seen me across business sites, news sites, social media, in pretty cool context, cool references. So you're like, oh, I'm a bit curious about this guy. So now if I then say, why don't we after the gym, why don't we take a quick coffee? Now you're the awkward one if you turn me down. Does it make sense? Like, you've shifted the dynamic so much that and this is why we and our clients are getting very senior meetings. We're getting also when you're in the sales process, you want to do the multi-threading. You want to engage a bunch of people because there's statistics showing that 81% of the deals are going to vendors that are known in the various decision groups. Even if you're recommended by the expert, you're down to 4%. So it's a factor of 20. So you want to make sure that the people around Casey in this case they have also seen the Megadeals logo. They've seen my face. They've seen what reference we work. They've seen where we are matched on an ICP level. We're solving problems that they recognize. So when you present it internally, they're like, yeah, I'm already connected to the founder from Megadeals. And yeah, they totally talk about relevant stuff. And yeah, I totally know who they are. It's super interesting. Yeah. Some of them might even say, yeah, I know because we connected on LinkedIn because I've done it the same with them. They're like, yeah, I know Chris. So people want to be in the know. So we're kind of using a lot of the social codes and the social dynamics, and we've systematized it. So I do not believe, so for our ICP, these kind of sales loft and outreach, these kind of email chains are not working. Well, you might get but if you have 200 top priority accounts, you cannot burn 190 of them. You cannot. I mean, it's just crazy. So you need to be using a slightly higher touch model with this kind of very deliberate media play. And let's skip what we think about politics, but politicians are, this is why they use media so much. Media is power, media is influence. This is why they buy, in various countries, they buy media channels and all of that. Like, media is powerful. And we use the combination of, we create a familiarity effect around the brand, but also around the key phases of the vendor. So all of a sudden, the gym again, like, oh, that's Christopher from Megadeals. So you can flip the dynamics, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
It takes some patience, right? To not, and I love the metaphor of the gym too, because the awkwardness of this, it just becomes apparent when you do it wrong. And I think of all those spam emails or the SDR cold calls,
Yeah.
where you wouldn't do that in a gym,
No,
right?
no, exactly. I always think about social codes. So if you can mimic social codes, you're so much more successful, because it's just like this kind of blunt, hi Casey, like chasing look, and also like immediately talking about your private life. Like, you're like, dude, I don't know you. You haven't earned a right to talk private. I mean, we're not there. Like, I don't know who you are. Like, why do you say my first name too many times? It's so weird. Like, we don't know each other. Like, so I, just to be clear, I don't dismiss the Aaron Ross SDR blah 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 playbook. It works for, if you have 10, 20, 30,000 target accounts, you can run that machinery, because it's okay to burn bridges. If you have, oh, these are for this year and the next, these are the 200 or 50 or whatever accounts that we really want to win, don't use the Aaron Ross playbook, use the Megadeals playbook and the machinery we have created.
Got it.
And what just to be clear, what we can do with media, you cannot do in this individual platform. So there's some tricks we've created there, which they're not even possible in the single platforms.
Like it. So there's patience, but there's also, I guess this is just the difference, that it's almost like trying to be a B2C transactional, and also starting the relationship with a take. I feel very much like you're starting these relationships with give, like maybe it's like, or it's a little bit, you're giving your attention to their content and their, or just acknowledging them at the gym. Acknowledging, what's up, man? All good. But not taking. Let me take your time and make you feel awkward and.
Yeah, and like when you both create a celebrity effect around the brand and around your face, and then you're giving to them. You're pushing their social media content. You're commenting relevant stuff, and you're like, oh, I'm so grateful. Like, this guy is really pushing our stuff. So you're right, and also on even if we use the media targeting is quite often filled with insights. So we're targeting these 27 exact people, and instead of the current is 37, here it's 12, whatever. But it's a combination of key problems, ICP statements, but also insights. Like and it's particularly effective when you're dealing with so the real bingo is when our client is coming with some kind of novelty, because there is an element not just of the brand and the faces and all that. You also need to educate the market on the new category, which is a pretty hard thing to do the conventional way.
Yeah, new category. I mean, talk to me about the intricacies of that when you're inventing like, first of all, should you invent a new category? Should you find a way to do that? Or should you play in like this?
It depends. I mean, it doesn't always make sense. So I can give you some examples just on my take on it. So if you can sometimes benefit. So sometimes you benefit from coming. It's actually a new category, but you benefit from calling it the old category. You're just better. You have a new take on it, but you're tapping into so for example, I give an example. So we do deal orchestration, but we also tap into the stream of account-based marketing, which you remember our last call. I created the world's first platform for that we sold to Dun & Bradstreet. We were the first company being recognized by Gartner and the guys in the ABM space. So sold that company to Dun & Bradstreet. But Megadeals play is a very, you could say, one, it's a very advanced and operationally friendly version of ABM. It's a very, very sophisticated, but made available for small and medium-sized companies. That's one way. The other way is that we're saying it's it's deal orchestration enablement. So because we have elements in it that have nothing to do with ABM, it's just a way to make these very targeted deals easy to deal with. So we actually play both, but there are also companies where I'll give you an example of a company that came to us. So we don't do consulting anymore. But we actually pivoted from being a consulting company into the SaaS play, as I told you. When we used to be a consulting company, we did a lot of design and positioning around new categories. So we were working with one software company. There were about 60 people. They came to us and said, so we're doing product lifecycle management for automotive, PLM. So, but I worked already with Dassault, Siemens PLM, PTC, and SAP's PLM. And those are thousands of employees. So I was like, and they all sell to automotive. So I was like, oh man, this kind of startup scale up is going to go up against the gorillas. And the way they presented themselves as PLM for automotive, which is the same category, but so I said to them, look, guys, you're saying the same, but you're small. That's not a very hot pitch. Like, look, we're like them, but small. Like, no, that doesn't fly. So, but luckily, when we workshop with them, we found that, in the car, you have today on average 100 computers. Did you know that?
Really, 100?
Yeah, 100 small PCs. I mean, some computers are like super small, yeah. But you have on average 100 computers in a newly produced car and thousands of softwares. If you take a car 20 years ago, it was only hardware, literally. It was, I mean, the radio had some small software in it, but it was literally almost only hardware. So,
I saw a post the other day where someone was like, please just let me buy a car that doesn't have a computer. And I'm thinking,
yeah.
can you even have that today? You know?
No, they don't exist anymore. No, they don't exist anymore. No, they don't. So, and this is why it's harder and harder to fix them yourself. Like
Yeah. I have my check engine light just went on. I have no idea why. I think it's related to the starter. No idea. No idea. I'm gonna have to outsource that now.
yeah, exactly. No, but what we found with this company was that they actually, because they were pitching features, I was like, this doesn't fly in the corridor of the big automotives, like the Ford and the General Motors. It doesn't fly. You can't, because they can't retell the story about features. So, but then we found they actually work around the software stack, whereas the conventional PLMs work around the hardware stack. So then we said, this is the world leading software PLM play. And we actually labeled the incumbents. These others are the world leading hardware PLM companies. So then all of a sudden you benefit from creating at least a new subcategory. You say it's PLM, but it's software PLM. Like, Mark Benioff did this with Salesforce. He didn't say, we're a CRM, but small. He said, we're a cloud CRM. So, and then he called the others on-premise, right? So sometimes you benefit from doing that kind of category definition and contrasting game. Sometimes you benefit from just tapping into a big stream of demands where you are like the others, but slightly better. So there's no like very black and white answer. But so for example, we are right now, we built us to where we are, and we can continue doing this with just talking deal orchestration enablement. But we're soon launching we soon launching an inbound stream where we tap into the big volumes of ABM demand, where we will say, look, we're ABM, but super advanced and at a very competitive price point.
Yeah.
So, kind of. So we haven't launched that yet, but we will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man. So what do people get wrong the most? When you've seen a lot of companies, right? We're seeing them have all these tech stacks, but when they go to approach the mega deal, what are they fumbling? I imagine they're just right off the bat, they're just sending some signal that's saying, this is not Have you seen any sort of things that we can just solve?
Yeah, it's few things where I see a few things where so first of all, too often they apply the
Mm,
sequential thinking
yeah.
that you find in the Aaron Ross model. First, you generate the lead, then you have an SDR, then you have an account exec. They apply the same on the large accounts, which it's more like you move 57 pawns and you need to move them individually ahead. It's a different playbook. You need to do the multi-threading. You need to engage many of them individually, but also target them multi-channel. And that also pours into the way they look at KPIs wrongly. So you typically you apply. I don't want to say who, but it's a Fortune 10 company that I worked with in the past where we were dealing with the team that dealt with the top 30 accounts, like their mega
Oof,
accounts. Yeah.
wow. Top 30 accounts at a Fortune 50, you said?
Fortune 10. So it was, yeah, one of the, so it's an American company,
These are mega deals.
Fortune 10. Yeah. Anyway, so this is actually horrendous what I'm going to tell you. I don't want to say the company because I don't want to,
Yeah. What's it rhyme with? I'm just kidding.
no, but this is interesting because when we prepared the work, this was when we were a consulting business. So we worked with them on how to configure their deals slightly better, etc. But then marketing came into the room. So we started off with a commercial leaders, a sales team. Marketing came into the room and they presented themselves by name to these deal makers. What does it tell you?
By name. But they're like, hi, I'm.
So they were like, "Hi, I'm Lisa. Hi, I'm
They
Christian."
did this to the sales people. They did this to the customer.
Yeah, no, to the salespeople.
I don't know. What does that mean?
They don't know each other.
Oh, duh.
Duh, they don't know each
You've
other.
never met. The only reason you're having a meeting is because you're there. Holy crap.
These guys don't even know each other. So, and what became evident? So after a few hours, one of the more loud marketeers said, "Look, Chris, we are rewarded by number of leads. So for us to support the top 30 accounts, our bonuses we're not catching our bonuses. If we spend too much time on this, I just want you to know this." So it's configured the wrong way. So they've taken the sequential view of marketing than sales. They apply it even on the top 30 accounts. And these accounts, these are billions of dollars. Individually, these accounts are sometimes billions of dollars. These are huge accounts. And the marketing team, one, had never met the commercial big deal makers, and they were not incentivized to support them. They even said it out loud. Like, "Look, we're not getting my bonuses are not met if I do this." Just so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's 30 accounts, 30 leads, 30. Yeah. This is not.
Yeah. Yeah. And then so those are two. The third one would be, which I said in the beginning. So uh our kind of on top sauce is really working well for these kind of medium-sized companies. But to be honest, the biggest companies in the world also have this messy, over-engineered tech stack that in reality is very hard to operationalize. So in theory, they have this beautiful machinery. So if you look at a keynote when they speak, but then when you look at, okay, how do you execute this? They're like this, like, whoa, this is just over-engineered, too many subsystems. It's just crazy. Yeah.
Man. So like, let's talk about this system you built. What's it called?
So the Megadeals deal orchestration platform. Yeah. The deal orchestration platform. Yeah.
Deal orchestration
Yeah.
platform. And it's 14 or more
Yeah.
different things boiled into just one. So you don't have to have
No, our clients don't need to source the 14 because they are 17K US per month. So
the sales cycle alone on 14 deals is a pain in the ass, right?
no, I mean, I actually, so before creating Megadeals, I stepped in as a lead investor and CRO for a company that is actually our ICP. Okay. And then I had to hire 4 people to run the machinery. I had to source the 14 systems. We had to spend a few hundred thousand dollars integrating them. And I'm one of the leading experts on this in the world, but even I struggled because it was just so freaking hard to get it operationalized. And what people tend to do, they go like, "Oh, let's just do LinkedIn." But the problem is if you're selling to non-commercial stakeholders, they're just simply not often on LinkedIn. There just aren't. I looked at an example this morning. They got 10,000 impressions out to a set of, I don't know, 27 stakeholders, something. And then I looked at how many of those impressions went out via LinkedIn. 66. So that's less than 1%. So less than 1% went out via LinkedIn. The others went out on Instagram, Facebook, news sites, and YouTube. Yeah. So if you rely on LinkedIn alone, your guns are just too weak. So if you want to influence the corridor and to reach the 81% of the win rate rather than 4% if you're recommended by expert but unknown, you need to influence these guys. And then you need to mix channels, but you need to target them well.
Beautiful. Where do people go? How do they get more information on the orchestration platform? How do they connect with you? Where do you want them to go, click, all the things?
Yes, I would connect with me on LinkedIn. So it's Christopher with an English spelling and then Engman with an E, so Engman. You'll probably find me there, or send me an email at christopher@megadeals.com. We're actually going to rebrand in a few months because the name Megadeals is frightening a lot of people. We did start off with the multi-billion-dollar deals, but today most of our clients are doing, as I said, even sometimes less than 100,000 in ARR, or sometimes a few 100,000. Of course, we do sometimes deal with really large deals, but the majority of our clients are, 20 to 200 employees. They're dealing with a very concrete target audience, but they are not necessarily doing the crazy big numbers per deal.
Right.
Yeah.
I can see how mega could be a little scary for people. Yeah, these are good. These are the good size deals, the ones you want. These are the ones.
Yeah, it has more to do with, you have complex deal with distributed decision groups. That's kind of it, right? Or even ecosystems, which is kind of the 5 and 6 on the list of complexity. So we're in the 5 and 6.
What's the URL for that? Where should they go currently?
So Megadeals.com is a current URL. We're in a few months launching a new brand. I don't know what it is yet. We haven't decided on the name, but it will be less frightening and more also signal that we're actually a tech company, not a consulting business. So yeah, but
That's exciting. We'll have to have you come back on and talk about a rebrand, what that process.
yeah, let's do that.
Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on here. I really want to encourage everyone to check this thing out because, man, the time savings, the money, this seems like something you need to investigate further. And so I want to give a shout out, to have everyone check that out. And dude, Christopher, thank you for coming back on here. I don't know, the time is just warped by, like we've been in a time.
Yeah, every time we're like, boom.
Yeah. So thank you for coming on here, sir.
Yeah, likewise.
Absolutely. And those people listening, if you learned something, and I freaking know you did, because I literally have 2 pages of notes over here, front and back, then share this episode with 1 person, 3 people, 9,000 is cool. But even 1 person, like, who needs to hear about this? Who is doing the gym flow the wrong way, right? Shake your friend, get him this episode, have him learn.
Right. Who's doing the hi Casey, I'm Christopher.
Hi, I'm right. Yeah. And next time you're at the gym, think about this episode. Maybe you're listening to this episode at the gym. With that, Christopher, you and the man, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you so much.
All right, everyone. This has been a crazy cool adventure of the Hardcore Marketing Show. We will see you all next time.